Hey there, Regina Anley here, and it is time for Coffee with Regina. And I have my good friend Miriam, is it Segal or Segal?
Segal.
Segal with me today. And we're going to be talking about some really interesting stuff. So, first off, welcome, Miriam.
Thank you.
So happy to have you here. Let me tell you all a little bit about Miriam before we get into our chat. Miriam is an identity catalyst and transformation facilitator, and she spent more than 40 years helping people reconnect with who they truly are. Now, I know you've probably gone, I've done this work on myself over and over and over again. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Miriam does it different. So pay attention. She's the creator of the Virtual Voyage Accelerator, and she's the founder of the CEA method. And they're both designed to help people experience deep, whole being transformation beyond that traditional coaching or therapy. So she helps conscious leaders, entrepreneurs, and high achievers see what's been hidden within them, the patterns, the beliefs, the nervous system responses, that stuff that shape who we are. She helps with all of that. And through a unique blend of presence, somatic awareness, and deep insight, she helps people move from those old survival habits to embodied possibility and authentic power. And, I just want to say the heart of Miriam's mission is once you see yourself clearly, nothing is ever the same again. And I know that to be a fact. So let's get into it, Miriam. So happy to have you here.
I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
And so let's just jump right into it. I mean, with what you do, I mean, we were talking before we went live here. That's we were a little behind. It was like, oh, I got to put up the screen and stuff. It was like jumping in because we were starting really to get into chat because, the world today, people are stressed, and it's not even that people are stressed today. It's like, yeah, we have all this old baggage that we're dealing with, and we just added a whole bunch of stress on top of it. When you meet with somebody, let me jump back for a second. When you're out there just chatting with people, what do you notice?
I notice a lot of things. But one thing that shows up again and again and again that I think the majority of people don't even realize they're doing, and they don't realize how detrimental it is people making assumptions every single second about pretty much everything. And
So when you say
they make,
assumptions,
yeah,
like about what?
uh, just about everything. And it could be, I'm going to give you an example because I was at the doctor the other day and she decided that she wanted to take the checkups, so they'll take your blood pressure. Now, I'm a trained dancer, and so I'm used to sort of sitting up straight. So I'm sitting up straight. And so she puts the cuff on, and then she's very carefully explaining to me, lean back in the chair. Like she changes the tone to lean back in the chair because we don't want you to be stressed out. And I'm noticing the whole way of being for her changes because I'm sitting up straight. So that must mean I'm stressed. Like I'm checking in with her, right? So I could be making my own assumptions as well, but the idea is to check like what's going on. I wasn't stressed. I was just sitting the way I normally sit, right? But her assumption was, you're stressed. That's why you're sitting up like that. And of course, we're here at the doctor, all this. So I had to smile because it affected the way she spoke with me. It affected the instructions that she gave me because she made that assumption. Nothing wrong with it. I mean, that's a pretty simple example. But what happens is we're making all of these split-second assumptions about people, what they must have meant and what they must have intended, all this kind of stuff. And then we assume that our interpretation, our assumption is right. And then we determine what action is needed, what response is needed to meet our own assumption that we've deemed as right without checking. And then we do whatever action or say whatever thing that we have also assumed is right. And all of this is happening inside us without ever checking, did you actually mean to hurt my feelings? Are you me? What are you thinking of me right now? Or what did that trigger? I mean, any kind of trigger, it doesn't happen. And this is happening all the time.
I have an example of my own from just last night. And my husband and I are currently caretaking for his sister. And, she's been with us for going on 6 months now. And she is, she needs a little bit more hands-on touch kind of thing as far as like, back and forth. Well, I'm an introvert and I'm used to like just doing what I do. And I was down at the counter and she's eating her breakfast. I'm eating my breakfast. It was at breakfast time yesterday morning. And my brain is thinking about, okay, I've got to get this done today. I got to get this done today. So my brain is just on that. All of a sudden she goes, if you're mad at me, just let me know. And I'm like, why would you think I'm mad at you? Well, you're not looking at me. You're not talking to me. So it was an assumption on her part. I said, I'm not mad at you. I said, I'm kind of in my head going, what do I got to get done today? And it was just where I was. But you're absolutely right. How many times a day do all of us just make assumptions?
Yep. And some of them
how do
can
you
really
stop
ruin
doing that?
relationships.
Yeah. How do you stop doing it though? I mean, it's just as soon as you said that, I'm like, how do you stop doing it? It just seems like it's so ingrained to make assumptions.
Yeah. Ingrained is a word, conditioned is a word, brainwashed is another word. Our thoughts will often come very quickly. And sometimes we even react without being aware that we've had thoughts. That's how fast it happens. So one of the ways to train that kind of thing is to start noticing what I'm thinking, right? So I pay attention to, and this takes practice. It can take practice. For some people, it happens really fast. A thought. And then, like with you said your sister-in-law?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she checked in a way, but she checked already with the assumption being true. Otherwise, she would have asked the question differently, most probably. It would have been, I have the impression that you're angry. And I'm wondering if you're angry with me. Is that true? Am I right? Mm-hmm. Anything like that instead of, well, if you're mad at me, because then she's already reacting, right? So it happens really fast. So, but that's one way. It's like, for me, one of the things I've done for years is it's typical for me to just go, that's a thought. When I notice a thought, that's a thought. Because there's this habit or this conditioning that when we have a thought, we assume it's true. That's the next assumption. So, no, it isn't. It's a thought. And then what? And a lot of times just recognizing that's a thought will be enough. Really, oh, it doesn't have to mean anything because the thought will come just from conditioning. We don't have to believe it. We don't have to identify with it. And those include thoughts about ourselves like, I'm not good enough. Or any of us in business like imposter syndrome or whatever you want to call it, self-doubt, anything like that, fear of success, fear of failure. All of those things are thoughts. What we do with them, right? Do we make them true? Right? If I assume that I'm right, then I will be in the world quite differently than when I go, that's a thought. Because it doesn't have to be anything other than a thought, which is a habit. And all a habit is, it's just learned activity that you can actually let go of. You don't have to engage in it, identify with it, make it into a reality. You don't have to, but it might take some practice. I hope that answered your question. It was a long answer.
No, it completely answered the question, and it brought up some more thoughts and ideas for me as well. Most of my audience knows that I'm Canfield certified, and one of Jack Canfield's things is his equation of E plus R equals O. So the event plus your response equals the outcome. And that assumption lives in the response. So do you want your response to be that assumption, or do you want to stop and pause before the response and go, okay, so what's going on here? Is she really mad at me? Should I say, I'm getting this vibe that you're not happy with me right now? Is there something going on I need to know about? Instead of saying, the response, the one that I did get was if you're mad at me, just tell me. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, so then I responded, right? Because now I'm responding going, wait, what? What are you talking about? I'm just in my head trying to figure out what I'm doing for the day. So now not only is she reacting, now I'm reacting,
Yeah.
and I'm possibly going to make assumptions on my own of going, why does she think I'm mad at me? It's like
What's her
an assumption
problem?
tennis court.
Yeah, exactly. So also, I mean, there's another opportunity. Well, there are many opportunities. One of them is, for example, well, if the person is angry with me, if that person's mad at me, why am I making that into a problem?
Hmm.
Because if I'm reacting rather than responding, and I make the difference, of reaction, it's more of a knee jerk thing, whereas a response will be reflected or present, grounded. It's just like, you notice there's a distance to it. It's like, this is actually happening. And that's all that's happening. It's just happening. It's not happening to me. It's just happening. So, what do I do with that? What do I make it into? I can make it into a problem. And I can think a lot of things like that person's a jerk because she thinks I'm a jerk. I mean, there's so many possibilities. That's why I call my initial session with people infinite possibilities, because it's like you can go anywhere, you can think anything. And from those thoughts, you can do whatever, you can be however. So, who do you choose to be right now? And it is a choice.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's amazing because that's something to think about, because a lot of people don't think they have a choice,
Mm,
and they think what is just is what is, and it's not. It's what you choose to allow it to be. And some people, and I used to be like this. So, I mean, I've done a lot of self work on myself, and I'm continuous improvement. It's like I consider myself a lifelong learner. I'm always learning something new, and it took me a long time to not knee jerk react to certain people when they made assumptions about something that was going on. Say so, for business owners and that kind of thing. I've had people who I thought were perfect for my course and then didn't join the course. And my assumption was, well, something went wrong and this, that, and the other thing. And then I ask them, and they're like, oh, I'm in 4 other courses right now. I just don't have the time to do it. It's not that I don't want to do it. I just don't have the time for it right now. So I didn't want to sign up right now. And I was like, oh, okay. It's we, even as business owners, we make these assumptions and we drive ourselves crazy because we make assumptions that are holding us back, right? I mean, when you do that, you kind of hold yourself back, right?
absolutely. I mean, it can be this way, or it can be another way, or it can be, but the habit is it's about me. And most of us have learned it. I mean, some of us have gotten it in with our mother's milk, we'll put it that way, like from the time we're born, or even before we're born. But the idea of anybody who's ever heard you've made mommy angry, or don't disturb daddy because you're hurting daddy. Like there will be this, it's you're the problem. No, no, that's not true. But we become very concerned with ourselves when we've been trained to take responsibility for someone else's experience.
Oh, you just that is a powerful note right there. So, can you talk a little bit more about that?
So part of the fun of being being present is noticing all of these, what we've been talking about a little bit, these assumptions, the knee-jerk reactions, the ways of being in the world, and then knowing, put it this way, when you were born, do you think you were born not good enough? Do you
Mm.
think you were born making other people angry? or sad, destroying their lives or whatever else is in there. No. If you do, well, that's a thought. It's a thought. Because the truth of the matter is, you were born, right? Didn't know a lot when you were born. You were born. And so you put on all of these different forms of you, identities, however you want to call it, based on, bless you, someone else's reaction, something someone's told you, something that has happened where you think, oh, that happened because of me. And that happens often with children. They don't understand why things are happening. So if they're involved, it must have been me. Like if mommy's angry, I did that. But generally, that comes from having been told or treated in some way already that it was you. That can happen even before you're born, when your mother is pregnant with you and she, for example, didn't really want to be pregnant at the time. So already the thought might be in her, the energy might be in her that I don't want this, right? So, and you come into the world and then you get all this experience that builds and builds and builds until you notice, until you start experiencing and realizing none of that is me. None of it. None of it. And then it becomes way easier to be in the world because you're not that. You were never that. And that's the main way I work with people. I say I'm here to reveal you. What I do is I offer a space where you get to reveal yourself. I reflect it to you. I get you to move in a space that shows you how you are being in the world based on what you think, what your habits are, what your conditioning is, whatever you want to call it. And it's amazing what happens because it's everything. It's your mind, it's your nervous system, it's your body, it's your feelings, it's all of your senses. And then something will happen at one point where you just go, boing, and then it drops. It just drops. And I've seen people change in a split second where they couldn't move. They didn't even realize that they were working towards something else. They're saying they want to do this. This is how they want to live their life. And they're not, they're on a totally different path and they don't even see it because they don't see their conditioning and they don't hear what they're telling themselves. And all of a sudden, they're right on the right space and they're going in a completely different direction the way they need to be going. That's more true to themselves. There are no questions. Their mind goes quiet. You know that constant round and round and round? It goes quiet because all of that stuff that was getting in the way isn't necessary. Like they don't need it to distract them anymore. They don't need to keep them in the idea that they're that person doing that thing, have to be being that way with that in that world. It's like, that's not the world. It's not who you really are. And then it's so easy. It, like I say, nothing is the same again.
You know, that's amazing that you can have that kind of a transformation because, you know, we talk a lot about limiting beliefs and how they can hold you back and that kind of thing. And this goes like a level deeper into the limiting beliefs because, you know, I'm this is the way my brain's thinking about this right now is that, you know, there's this the surface limiting beliefs of I'm not worthy and you know, I'm not good enough, whatever. And we work on that level of that and then we're like, how come I'm still feeling this way?
Yes.
It's because you haven't gotten that deep piece
Exactly.
because when you were talking about that, I'm thinking about how deep that actually goes.
Yeah, it can absolutely be. And the thing is, this idea of I'm not good enough, it's such a trap. And I mean, any kind of thought like that, or I am a certain way, I'm not a certain way. So what do you have to do? You have to counteract that with something. Like you're looking for a solution to your problem. And then it's like this incredible tennis game or ping pong game. Make your choice. Back and forth, problem, solution, problem, solution. And you're on the hamster wheel and you're going round and round or back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm like, wait a minute. You're in it. You're in a fake world, in a fake identity, with a fake problem that you're just making up. Most likely based on something somebody did or said, where you got the impression that this is something you have to change. Instead of, what if you're just on the wrong path? What if you're just not seeing? Like what we do is we end up going like this, right? I'm not good enough. And then it's like, okay, there's that, and there's that, and there's that. And we're so here, right? On this is what I have to do. We don't see all of that. It's like, take a step back and have a look at what you're doing and what you're thinking. So I take all of that, and I put it in a world where my clients can see what they're up to. And it's really interesting to watch. Sometimes it just kind of dawns on them. And sometimes it's like, boom, 10 minutes into the session, like, wait a minute. It's fantastic because they don't even realize they've trapped themselves in an eternal back and forth or a never-ending circle of the problem, solve the problem, solve the problem. The problem is not a problem. It's not even there. It's not real. It's not real. And that's when it hits them. It's like, wait a minute. I'm not even that person. That's right. You aren't.
There's so much in there. And so that's like the resolution of it. I'm just kind of curious on your take for the majority of people, and including myself. I mean, because we're all works in progress, right? I mean, you've got this, I'll just call it head trash. So it's head trash. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I've made up the story. I've made up this, identity and whatever it is. As entrepreneurs, how does that affect you? If you've got all that head trash going on, how does it show up?
A lot of people talk about, for example, imposter syndrome. So it's like fear of, and these are what I call umbrella terms for the things, right? Fear of success, fear of failure, self-doubt. Suddenly I can't think of what it's called, where you actually have a lot of expertise, but you don't give credit to your own expertise. You always think you need more. I can't think of what it's called, but okay, you get the idea. So as entrepreneurs are like, well, I can't go live because what if I make a mistake? What if I say something wrong? What if I say something stupid? Okay. And this is where this happens, right? What if? And again, what if does not exist. What you're doing is living in anticipation. That is not the real world. Anticipation is all going on up here, right? Anticipation creates anxiety. So the next thing is, what if? Okay, answer the question. That's one way of looking at it. Answer the question. What if you say something wrong? What if you make a mistake? What's the next step? So it's like not going da, 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 da. It's like, okay. Because when you're in the what if, that's when you're head trash, right? Are you completely unable to take care of yourself? Do you really believe that you are powerless to rectify situations that show up in your life? Do you really believe you're helpless, hopeless, worthless? What situations show up in your life where you're not that, so that it can't be true? Right? Because we're not either or. We're all everything, right? So you might think you're worthless here, but here you're like, ha, right? So that's not you. That's just smoke and mirrors. It's smoke and mirrors. So the next step, and Fran Drescher, for anybody who used to watch the
The
series The
nanny.
Nanny, she talked about, I can't remember if she wrote it in her book, but she talked about when she got raped.
Mm.
And how about, I think it was 2 weeks after she got raped, she and her husband were going to make love. And she was, right, she was closing her eyes. And he went, Fran, open your eyes. It's me. It's me. Right. And the conversation is, well, what happened after? Then you got up, right? You get raped. And then we don't get stuck there, but we can get stuck here ruminating about it. You got up. Maybe you called the police. Maybe you talked to somebody. Maybe you took a shower. Maybe you took your clothes off. Maybe whatever. But you did something. It didn't stop. Your life didn't stop. You didn't stop. Something else you did. There's one thing and then another thing and another thing. So what if you fail? Then what do? You keep yourselves, you support the impression that you're helpless, that you're powerless, that you're not good enough by going on this hamster wheel of, I have to solve the problem. I can't do the thing because I have this thing, and of the what if.
Mm.
That's how you give yourself the impression. That's how you prove yourself right. And why? Whoever told you that you couldn't handle it, or whenever you were in a situation where someone else got the better of you, you're not that person today anyway. You're not the same person, and that's not the same situation. This is not that. So guess what? New person, new set of skills, new situation. There's only opportunity, or what I call infinite possibilities. That's all there is. So what's the next step? What are you going to bring?
This has been a amazing conversation, and believe it or not, we're almost out of time because and we could talk about this like forever, which is why people need to come talk to you. Now, when you're making these assumptions and that kind of things, you could bring a lot of stress and the other things into your life. You make it all up, and I understand that you have a course that is something that might help with that. Tell us a little bit about it.
It's an itty bitty course. It's for free. I call it less stress, more energy, or it's either that or more energy, less stress. What are the other? Choose. And it's evidence based. So it's a short course where each week, for I believe it's 3 weeks, you get a new approach, a new strategy for reducing your stress. Now, I will say that this goes directly to like the experience of stress. So, not the get out of the whole picture. Although, having said that, I'll let you in on a little secret. The last one is kind of that. But it is directly focused on how you can get from the stress response and burning yourself out and all of that to something else. And it doesn't have to take very long. It can take seconds. It can take seconds. So I invite you to give it a try. And I invite you to contact me if you'd like information about other things I do, like an infinite. I mentioned the infinite possibilities session. That can be quite amazing. A lot can happen in a very short amount of time. I'm not making promises, but it can.
Hey, you know what? It's up to the individual who,
Absolutely.
yeah, so I
Well, it's
totally get that.
teamwork.
Yeah, yeah. I will have this link underneath all three of our platforms, so you don't have to try to copy down all this stuff here. But this is the link that you'll see underneath underneath this video once we get done. And as we were talking about that, I was just putting the two and two together there because I was thinking about all those assumptions that we make. And yeah, all those assumptions that we're making are just stressing us out. So once you learn to actually be aware of that, and you're aware of the stress and you mediate that, now you can think clearer to stop and actually consider, is this really true? And if it's not true, then what is it? It's something I created in my head. It's something my imagination conjured up because, you know, because it did. I mean, I remember periods in my life, and we'll just leave it at that for that word, where monthly it would be, I would make up stories I would have massive fights with people in my head for no apparent reason. It was all hormonal, obviously. And I learned very quickly to go, what are you doing? Stop. You're having an argument with somebody who's not even upset with you. You don't even have an argument going with them, and you're making this stuff up in your head. It's not true. Why are you doing this? And yeah, there's a whole, like you said, it's mind, it's body, it's everything. So there's a lot of moving parts there. It's becoming aware of where you are. And once you can get that awareness, then you can stop and reconsider, is this an assumption? Is this something that's not true? Is this, some made up story or made up persona that I'm creating for some reason? And if so, what is the reason that I'm creating it? Am I trying to protect myself? Am I trying to protect somebody else? I'm just hearing so many levels here, Miriam.
Yeah, there are infinite possibilities.
Infinite possibilities.
And it's like I work in the full spectrum of it. So it's not like, oh, my mind's figured it out, but my body's not along. It's like, okay, the whole being goes, oh, boom. Right. I just want to mention quickly that we can make assumptions about people that are positive. Where, oh, that's a great guy. Oh, she's wonderful. She's on my side. Whatever it is. Or that person would never hurt me. Or he loves me. Or whatever kind of positive things we can do. The assumptions we make, and don't see that maybe there's something more to this picture we need to have a look at. So don't be fooled necessarily by just the I'm not or something's not. It's like, what if you make up positive stuff? It's still an assumption, and it's still an assumption that you're assuming is true, and then you act on that, and that could be why something fell through, or somebody pulled something over the wool over your eyes, or whatever happened, because you're making the kinds of assumptions. You're not aware that you're actually doing it.
So it's identifying those infinite possibilities for your true, authentic self.
Yeah, and you might think you know who that is. Think you know who that is. I've heard lots of people tell me, oh yeah, I never do that, or I always do that, or this is who I am. And then I get them in the space and they're like, oh. I love that. It's happened to me so many times myself, because I mean, of course I do this with myself. It's like, oops. Well,
right?
Okay, yeah, let that go.
But it's like you bring yourself to another plane of existence when you can become aware, so that even though those around you might not have come to that awareness yet, you can still be true to you and be aware of what's going on. So when somebody, like my sister-in-law is, with the if you're mad at me, just tell me. Instead of, I automatically reacted. I was like, why would you think I'm mad at you? And of course, all of a sudden I was on the defensive. That was me not instantly being aware. That was my knee-jerk instant reaction. I'm like, I could have countered back with the I'm not mad at you for anything, and just, but I went on defensive. That's a level of awareness. And that takes practice. Like you said, it's habits. Our thoughts, the way we think, it's habits. And it can be, especially when they're deep-seated habits, it can take some time.
It doesn't have to. It can be that fast as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to invite something as well. I know we're at the end. So, do you know what? When I heard you say that, I took it personally, and I feel angry now, or I almost started to feel angry, but I caught myself.
Mm.
Right? Where we bring that level into the conversation. When I heard you say that, I felt angry, but I didn't feel angry before that. See the difference?
Mm.
It's like, why would you think I'm angry? Hang on a second. I just heard my own anger. Right? Because sometimes we can't, it's there, the reaction is there, and there's like, wait, so that you give yourself a chance to notice. And the whole conversation becomes a totally different level. Because when you're you, you don't have to be anybody else. So you feel safe because you're you. There's nobody else to be, there's nowhere else to go. You don't need confidence. You don't need self trust. You don't need self esteem. You don't need, because that would imply me and myself. That doesn't happen. I'm here now. This is it.
You know
That's
what?
it.
I love that. And that is a great note to end this on. I will make sure this link is below because if you have not hooked up with Miriam yet, you need to chat with her because, especially as business owners, we wonder why we can't get to where we want to be, or we wonder what's holding us back, or, we have all this stuff going on and we're feeling stressed and overwhelmed, and we got this, in relationships, having a business is all about relationships, and we wonder why they're not working quite right and the way we want them to, and all this. And it all stems to that awareness and, understanding who you are, how you are, and what's really authentically true for you versus the head trash, right? So
Absolutely.
thank you so much. You got me thinking, I'll tell you. Thank you so much for this chat. This has been amazing. And I hope everybody else who's watching this got as much value as I did, because I got immense value out of this conversation. Thank you so much. Check out her course. I will put this under the videos here, so you don't have to copy that down. And I really can't thank you enough. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
And we'll see you all next time on Coffee with Regina. Bye for now.